The hits just keep coming for the Miami Dolphins after losing the leadership, the skill, and the ability of an aging Calais Campbell. They have lost another one of their big locker room leaders, and arguably, next to Tyreek, their most skilled offensive player. As about a half hour ago, Terron Armstead has officially announced his retirement. It looks like that's where we're headed. So let's talk about it. Man, is Patrick Paul even ready for this?
Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score! Field down the near side, man open, touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. He's got it for the touchdown again!
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go! What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. And we are back here for an unexpected one. But we are here. If you haven't had a chance, go ahead, check the video out from earlier today where I dropped my cornerback big board. Now I plan to do safety this week, followed by tight end, and then, of course, quarterback. Now, I'll stick with quarterback because you don't have a QB3, but am I going to have to be doing offensive tackle instead of tight end? You know, Julian Hill and Pharaoh Brown aren't going to get a ringing endorsement from me, but I'm looking at this situation, and our tackles are Larry Borum, Patrick Paul, Keon Smith, and Austin Jackson. You know, listen, we're going to talk about this, but one step forward, two steps backward. That's what it honestly always feels like. We took that step forward with James Daniels, and we're like, okay, Armstead comes back. We are good to go. Just solve that left guard. Get me something better than Larry Borum or Liam Eichenberg, and we're good to go. We are in a position right now. I want you to think about this. I want you to think about what our starting offensive line would be right now. Put this in your pipe, light it, inhale, and smoke as much of it as you want. From left to right, Patrick Paul, Liam Eichenberg, Aaron Brewer, James Daniels, Austin Jackson. The right side is fine. James Daniels and Austin Jackson when Jackson's healthy, because he's hurt more than Terron Armstead. Jackson misses more games than Terron Armstead. So I'm going to have Keon Smith there instead. Brother, this is not a good... I'm sorry. I don't care. This is worse than Calais Campbell. Far worse than Calais Campbell. And people say, well, you know, Terron, he doesn't play. What are you talking about? The guy gives us 12 or 13 games a year, and when he does play, he's a top 3 tackle in football. This is an irreplaceable player, even at that 12 to 13 games. Who are you going to find in that building right now that's going to give you that level of play? Let's say they stay healthy for the 17 games, whoever it is you want to name in that building right now. Are they going to give us the level of play Terron Armstead did for 12 or 13 of those 17 games? Please. Please. And our run game is already in disarray. Already in disarray after last year. We're going to throw Achane and Jalen Wright out there and we're going to say, go get them, boys. With what? Buddy, if I'm Jalen or I'm Achane, brother, I don't care what you call. I'm working off James Daniel and Austin Jackson's hips. I ain't even touching that left side. Miss me with that. And now we've gone too far. Armand Membou is not going to be available. He's going forward to the Patriots. Spoiler alert, if you're looking for a parlay, I'm going to tell you right now. Cam Ward 1, and then you can flip Abdul and Travis Hunter however you want. Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter at 2 and 3. I think it's going to go Abdul Carter, then Travis Hunter. But Travis Hunter was, that Colorado Pro Day, Travis Hunter was the talk of the town, doing what he was doing, no gloves, not Shedeur Sanders. And I don't think Shedor's Pro Day was nearly as bad as some people are trying to make it to be, but that's a different story for a different day. My point is, Armand's going 4. Your first 4 players off the board in this draft are going to be Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, then Armand Membou. That's what it's going to be. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I am going to tell you this right now. Campbell's on the board at 9 or 10? And you don't want him to get to San Francisco? Make the call. Because you all know I was pro Will Johnson. That's it. Will Johnson is now my number 2. If Will Campbell is on the board, you have to go Will Campbell. If you believe you want to give Patrick Paul 1 year, knock yourself out. At least put Will Campbell at left guard. I can sleep better at night with Patrick Paul, Will Campbell, Aaron Brewer, James Daniels, and Austin Jackson. I can sleep at night with that. I can't sleep at night with Patrick Paul, Liam Eichenberger, Larry Borum on that left side. I can't. I don't care if it isn't to his blind side. Tua's been getting hurt lately. What if Zach Wilson has to come in? Thank God you got some legs, Zachy boy, because you might need them if you come in. Listen. Go back and look at my prospect profile on Patrick Paul last year. Hey, I like the player, but I knew what it was in terms of a developmental play. And I've talked about this. When you look at what we ask for these guys in this system, when you look at the feet, when you look at the movement in space, when you look at the lateral movement ability of a guy like Patrick Paul, it's obviously not ideal. Not ideal at all. So let's get into this. I mean, this is a tough one. This hurts. I'm going to be honest with you. This hurts. This hurts. So here's the news. 5-time Pro Bowl left tackle Terron Armstead tells JoeyShotz he's retiring from the NFL. This has since been reported by Rappaport, everyone. Tremendous career comes to a close. Armstead, who started at HBCU, Arkansas Pine Bluff, played 12 seasons with Miami and New Orleans, highlighted by a 2018 All-Pro campaign. This is tough. And I saw someone in the comments earlier. Well, we don't even know if he had an impact on the locker room. Where you been? You just lost our best leader. This man took Chop Robinson under his wing. Why do you think you saw the improvement in Chop Robinson? He had the coaching from Anthony Weaver, but he also had Terron Armstead teaching him the tricks of the trade from an offensive tackle standpoint. This is tough. This is the best left tackle we've had since Richmond Webb, one of the greatest to ever wear it, to ever don our jersey. Players, not left tackle. Richmond Webb is the greatest left tackle to ever wear our jersey, but he's the best since. Better than Jake Long, better than Brandon Albert, better than Laramie Tunsil. And he's a freaking leader, man. And it's tough. That's it. You're losing. That play is not going to be, even if Will Campbell comes out in year 1 and he's a stud, he's not going to be at that level in year 1. Now, can he get to that level? Well, man, Will Campbell's that dude. the drop-off from Terron Armstead to Patrick Paul is significant. It is significant. Yes, Patrick Paul had some good reps last year, but for the most part, if you watched him and then you had to go back and watch the film multiple times a week like I did, because remember, let me just put in perspective. When I do 2 at Tuesdays, I want you to think about this. I watch the broadcast with all of you guys. Then I go back at night when I'm done and I watch the broadcast without streaming so I can lock in and take notes. All 22 then comes out Monday around midnight, heading into Tuesday, okay? So think about this. I watch it through and I chop the clips I want as I watch through. So now I'm on the third time watching. Then I come through and I have to watch and edit the clips and blah, blah, blah. I watch games like 4 or 5 times a week when you actually think about it. So I've seen, Patrick Paul, like I've seen it. And now I'm probably going to have to do a video this offseason about if I think he's ready. You cannot say with the utmost confidence that, yeah, we are ready to pass the torch. You just can't. You just cannot. And we were off to such a good start with James Daniels, and it has nosedived. Let's call a spade a spade. We got to hit this draft out of the park because this is not looking good right now. The voids continue to add up. The question marks. We got the whole side on the whole left side's a question mark. Who's the starting left guard? Question mark. Is Patrick Paul good enough? Question mark. I mean, we can go deeper than that if you really want. Is James Daniels going to be fully recovered and look like the guy he was before that injury? Third question mark. Fourth question mark. Is Austin Jackson going to stay healthy? The only question mark I don't have is Aaron Brewer, and poor this guy. Huh? Poor this guy. We give him Robert Jones and we give him Liam Eichenberg last year. I told y'all that was terrible and put him in a precarious position. He started off really well, but carrying the weight of that whole interior at the size he is, I'm not even trying to be ironic. That's a lot to ask for that player. Then you turn around. Okay, we're going to bring Liam back, but now we're going to switch Liam potentially to the left side, where Liam's come out and told us publicly he's more comfortable on the right because James Daniels is a natural right guard. And oh yeah, we don't know if he's fully healthy yet. It's just in a year where we need results. It's crazy what's happening right now. I haven't even started on the defense. Who's Ramsey's running partner? Are Ashton Davis and Melifanu going to be able to stay healthy? Who's Zach Seiler's running partner? The only things I know about, I can even go to edge. Are Phillips and Chubb going to return to their post-injury guys? Are the continuous lower extremity injuries going to stack up on Phillips and take that explosiveness away from him? Is Chubb going to look like the guy who was racking them up in 2023 before he got hurt? The only thing I'm pretty much certain about is the linebacker core right now. That's it on defense. Come to the offense. Okay, I'm sure about Jonnu Smith. I'm sure about Aaron Brewer. Can Tua stay healthy? Right? I'm sure about A-Chan. I'm sure about Wright. Watch that man this year. I'm sure about Jonnu, like I said. No one's sure about Julian Hill. No one's sure about, Farrell Brown. Now, we know what Tyreek and Waddle are capable of, but are they going to look more like the guys in 2022, 2023, or are we going to get, 2024 all over again? I know Malik's going to ascend, so I don't got questions about. There's a lot of questions right now. That's the whole point of this. And Terron Armstead, in retiring, just added a massive one. And for a team where, at least on the fan base and the media, the pressure is on. Now listen, I know I had been saying, Will Johnson, Kenneth Grant, or Amon Membou and Will Campbell those were who I wanted at 13. I mean, you got to highlight Armand Membou or Will Campbell now. I'm sorry. Yeah, you do. Like this is like, apparently there's a, I don't know if you guys saw this. Here, let me bring it up. Guys, there's an event going on right now. Like, this was like, they knew. All right, they knew that they're like McDaniel has shown up to it. Like, who else has shown up? Drew Brees. There's like a retirement party going on, people. I'm telling you right now. Let me bring this up for you. There's legitimately, I'm not even lying to you. There's a retirement party going on, like, as we speak. I'm not even joking. All right? I'm not even joking. And I remember in that article earlier, I said about, what was his name? Armstead. Not with Armstead retiring, but I said with what Barry Jackson said in, what's it called? In his article today, I was like, look at this. I was like, he mentioned offensive line is a pressing need and blah, 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 when he was talking about defensive tackles and stuff like that. And I said, just listen to what he's saying. It tells you everything you basically need to know. But people, I'm telling you, look at this. Like, this was known. Look at what I'm about to show you right now. Look, Drew Brees and Mike McDaniel arrive at Terron Armstead's retirement party. Look at this. Dolphins left tackle is retiring from the NFL after 12 seasons. Look at, he's hosting a party in Wynwood tonight to celebrate. Look, there's a screen and there's like a video package and everything. Like, there's literally a video pack, like... And I'm telling you, if Tua gets hurt, does this team win 5 games? Drew Brees is there, bro. Drew Brees is on the left right there. Drew Brees and Mike McDaniel arrive at Terron Armstead's retirement party. It's right there. I'm telling you. This has been planned. Drew Brees coordinated to come down to this? Like, and here we go again with Tua. And not just Tua, the running backs. Look what we're doing to our quarterback and our running backs. And in turn, with the quarterback, look what you're doing to your receivers. Like, I better, you know, man, I'm going to be honest with you. From a playing standpoint, I better see Patrick Paul SHIT sprinkles and fart rainbows from a playing standpoint this year, because they clearly knew this was coming. And now, let's be real here. I got to be objective. I want you to follow me here for a sec. When he reworked his deal to open that money up for us, was the decision made, or was he waiting to see what we did in free agency to decide if he was going to come back? Now, I know for the last couple weeks, McDaniel and such have been saying we're operating like he isn't coming back, etc., etc. But was that decision made after he saw how they used the money he freed up, as well as the money that Chubb freed up, didn't like the roster outlook, and said, yeah, okay, I'm just going to hang it up? Like, you got to think about that. Because I know we're all looking at this roster being like, yo, like, if Calais would have came back, would Terron Armstead have come back? Like, these are real questions I think are fair to ask. Because, listen, there's about 300 of you watching me right now. At 9:30 on a Saturday, we can all sit here and say, okay, me and all of you, the 300 in the chat, we are hardcore Dolphin fans, okay? We can all sit here and admit that. So, as hardcore Dolphin fans, we all saw how the offseason was going. We all saw the roster outlook and the voids that still remained. If we saw that, if we noticed it, if we were pointing it out, what do you think someone in that position who has to put their body on the line is thinking? And I'm just being honest. I'm like, again, I'm just talking to y'all. I'm just spitballing to y'all. These are real questions I think you can ask right now. Yams. I'm in Manitoba, Canada, and I can see the holes. Brother, I'm in Ontario, and I see them too. And you don't need a pair of binoculars. That's what's even scarier, Yams. All right? You don't need a pair of binoculars. Buddy, if Tua goes down, you might as well move off of him because you're going to get a top 5 pick. Zach Wilson ain't leading us to the playoffs, people. Let's be real here. Unless the first 4 picks, freaking, 13, 48, 98, 116 are impact starters. And then, you get a couple other contributors between 116 and 155. You get a couple more contributors. Okay. Now we filled some voids. Let's talk. But, man, this is looking, if Tua goes down again, does this team win 5 games? And if Tua stays healthy, can this team even win 10? He's only going to be able to do so much. Hell, I'll be honest with you, man. Joe Burrow could only do so much with this. And y'all know I'm a big Joe Burrow guy. You look at the contrast of how this is going, and then you look at Philly and how they just kept it so stable. You look at Baltimore, how they kept it so stable. You look at Kansas City, how they, and the wheels have fallen off. And now more and more with each passing week this offseason, it feels like 2023 was our peak. We peaked against the Broncos. And it also feels like if we would have beat the Ravens and the Bills, or one of the two, and won the division at minimum, or won both of them and actually finished first seed, it feels like we'd be sitting here it feels like that was the fork in the road. It feels like had we won at least one of those 2 final games and at least minimum won the division, we'd be down a different path. I don't think I'd be sitting here live talking about this right now. I seriously. You need to come out with Will Campbell and Siobhan Revel. And then at 98, you need to hit one of those DTs as a starter next to Sealer. And then you need to hit a couple between 116 and 155. Hey, maybe they take Josh Simmons. But that injury scares the hell out of me. Josh Simmons, damn good player, but that injury scares the hell out of me. Topher. Ben Johnson fixed Barrett O-line in 1 week. We're on year 10. Brother. It's 2025, Topher, and I still talk so highly about the unicorn line in 2016 because we haven't been able to put anything together like that. And we did get a taste of it when we had our full offensive line in that Broncos game. You remember? Armstead was healthy. Wynn was healthy. Connor Williams was healthy. Eichenberg was passable and healthy. And then obviously we had Austin Jackson healthy too. And look, we put up 70 points. 70 points when we had all of our guys good to go and we were healthy. Think about that. 70 points. And we haven't had them healthy since. And ever since we lost Wynn against that Eagles, we were never the same. And then when we lost Connor Williams, that's when the fall off started. Man, crazy. And now we're sitting here. It's wild, man. It's legitimately wild. It's tough to be a Dolphin fan. I feel for each and every one of you. Sorry, Robert Hunt was at right guard. My bad. I forgot. It wasn't Eichenberg. It was Armstead, Wynn, Connor Williams, Robert Hunt, and Austin Jackson. Remember we had that? And we put up 70 freaking points. I apologize. I don't know if anyone corrected me in the chat, but I was like, no, Liam Eichenberg don't seem right. And I totally, the big Robert Hunt guy forgot about his boy Robert Hunt. Go figure. That's how shook I am right now. But yeah, that was the one game where we had all guys healthy. We had the vision in place. And look at the offense and how it was cooking. Imagine if we would have had that full line for the whole season. We would have won the division. Because Achane would have been unstoppable. Achane probably would have had if they would have gave him the reps and that line would have been fully healthy, I think Achane's rookie season would have been remembered as one of the best at the running back position. I'm not even going to get into Tua. He already led the league in passing yards. Nothing more I got to say about that. But I think Achane would have probably had one of the most memorable rookie campaigns for a running back. And I know he already did from like a yards per game, a yards per rush standpoint. You know what I mean? Yards per carry standpoint. Sorry. I know he had that same thing, because he had I think it was the highest yards per carry ever for a rookie. So I know he already had that. But I'm talking about from an overall season, I think it would have been even more special. And now I want you, I kind of talked about this on a recent episode. Think about this. Week 17, 2023, we're battling for not just the division. We're battling for the number 1 seed in the AFC. Fast forward a year and a half later, and we're coming off a tremendously disappointing season, and it feels like we're closer to hitting the reset button than we are battling for that division and the number 1 seed again. That's a scary thought. And why? You came with a new wave offense. You built from the outside in. When most, name your Kansas City, name your Philly, name, Baltimore. Name the big dogs, and they're all built from the, Detroit. They're built from the inside out. We went the opposite way, and we didn't strike while the iron was hot. Here we are. Tough. And just more on this this development. This is tough, man. So here it is from the Miami Herald. A dozen seasons, 5 Pro Bowls, 2 teams. After 12 years in the NFL, Terron Armstead will retire, according to NFL insider Ian Rappaport. The star offensive tackle is expected to confirm his retirement Saturday night. At 33, Armstead could have stayed around another year or two, but after 3 consecutive seasons plagued by various injuries, the former Arkansas Pine Bluff standout decided to call it quits. Armstead signed a 5-year, $75 million deal with the Dolphins ahead of the 2022 season, immediately became one of the most prominent voices in the locker room. What a huge piece of our team he is, Coach McDaniel said in early January. Just in terms of where we started off and where our mindset is in tough times or in good times, he's one of the guys that everyone looks to. You're always hopeful for that. I'm not taking him for granted for any moment. The New Orleans Saints selected Armstead in the third round of the 2013 draft, spent the first 9 years of his career with the Saints, accumulating 3 Pro Bowls and even a second-team All-Pro selection. With Armstead's retirement, the Dolphins are now in serious need of leadership. An Iron Man through and through, Armstead's toughness was consistently praised, particularly at the end of 2024 as he battled knee injuries. It's about being a pro, and I think that is something I've learned a lot from Armstead and how he approaches a week, how he's able to do his work throughout the week and then go out and perform unbelievably. All pro levels for the past few years, Alec Ingold said. I think that's a great example to follow. A lot of the younger guys looking at those types of people. He's a dog, Tagovailoa said November 20th. There's been a lot of things that he's been dealing with injury-wise. Got a lot of respect, tremendous amount of respect for him being able to fight through those, still go out there and compete and play to protect me, to protect our backs, and protect our ball carriers. Speculations about his probable retirement immediately began swirling following the end of the 2024 season. At the NFL Combine, McDaniel made headlines with comments about Armstead. He's going to take his time with his family and loved ones and make that decision because it's not an easy one, McDaniel said February 25th. That same day, Armstead and the Dolphins agreed to a restructured current deal to create more cap space, but we'll be operating as though we're moving on in that way simply for the execution of free agency in the draft. Armstead, however, is well suited for retirement as he has ingratiated himself in the Miami community. Not only does Armstead impact the next generation of young people through his eponymous organization, he was recently inducted into the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence Project, a nonprofit mentorship organization founded by Congressman Frederica Wilson. We're so proud and honored to have him interested in helping the next generation, lifting them up and guiding them. Wilson said of Armstead, that's what mentorship is all about and what successful people like him should do. Added Wilson, he's a great a great role model, not just for young boys, but for all athletes. I would agree with that. He's a fantastic, fantastic person. Man. Russell says this loss would push me to trade Tyreek, more of a priority to fill many holes. Too many holes to fill. Greer didn't put enough talent into the right places, which is why he should have been fired. Rebuild incoming. They can't survive this loss. It's a wrap. Now, let me ask you this. Let's be honest with me. Will Campbell falls to us? George Raber says, do you think this means they're guaranteed to take a tackle at 13? I'm going to tell you this. You know what scares the hell out of me? Will Campbell's on the board, and they say, no, we got Patrick Paul. We saw how hard-headed Greer and the front office have been about Liam Eichenberg. Why would I expect that to change after they just drafted Patrick Paul and put in that high of draft capital, a second round picking him? Now, this is what I would do. This is what a smart GM would do. All right, I invested that capital in Patrick Paul. You will start the season at left tackle. Will Campbell falls to me? I will draft you, and you will start at left guard. Patrick Paul, this is not a season where we can mess around. If I don't like what I see from you, I will not hesitate to slide Campbell out to left tackle and make you a swing tackle for the rest of the season and hope you get your bearings for year 3. You need contingency plans. You didn't have them last year. Your contingency plans for Isaiah Wynn and Robert Hunt were Robert Jones and Liam Eichenberg is a disaster. You bet. If that guy, listen, and I am a pusher for Will Johnson. I think Will Johnson's a top 5 player in this draft. Will Campbell's a top 10 player in this draft. But I'm sorry. If Will Campbell is there, Membou is there, you got to go. Now, I do think it's too rich for Josh Simmons due to the injury. I do think it's too rich for Kelvin Banks. If you want to trade back and try and snag one of those guys, knock yourself out. I've told y'all for months, I think he's going to have a secret crush for Josh Connerly. But, man, and I'm going to be honest with you. If Will Campbell is sitting there on the board at 9 or 10, and I don't want him to get to San Francisco, yes, I would explore a trade up. This is just brutal. Me and Neil had a show this week about how they haven't put themselves in a good position to keep their options in the draft open. And here we are. It's gotten even worse in the 48 hours since me and Neil did that show. Now you are pigeonholed. There's a world where I would take Will Campbell and Jonas Savannah, or I would take Will Campbell and Donovan Jackson. I mean, that'd be really smart. Think about that for a sec. Will Campbell can play at left tackle. Donovan Jackson plays at left guard. You don't like what you see from Campbell at left tackle, you can literally flip them. But Donovan Jackson might go in the first now because he has that guard and tackle flexibility, and some teams might realistically view him as a tackle. Oh no, this isn't rock bottom. Trust me. If we come out of the draft with a bad draft, now we're at rock bottom. We still got another whoop to go, and we got a couple more. If Tua gets hurt, that's another rock bottom. Because, like I said earlier, if Tua gets hurt, you are going to get a top 5 pick. And this is working out where if Tua does get hurt, you're going to be in a position, because you haven't played with his money, and you're probably going to have a top 5 pick in a much better class next year. Like if Lenore Sellers comes out, if Garrett Nussmeier, my number 1 right now, Drew Aller. I don't think Arch Manning and Nico Iamaleava are going to come out. I think they'll come out the year after. But you're going to be in a legitimate position. It's a good quarterback class next year. It's better than this one. You know what this season has come? Even more boom or bust. Either more, hey, enjoy the ride, because you're either going to get a playoff win or a playoff berth, or you're going to see us fall flat on our face and it's going to get blown up and you're going to have the excitement of a rebuild. But no, this is not rock bottom. This is not rock bottom. This is bad. This isn't good, but this is not rock bottom. There's still levels. If we have a bad draft, Tua gets hurt, Jalen Phillips and Chubb get hurt again. Like, there's rock bottoms here. We still got, buddy, listen. First of all, shout out to Penn, building the Phinside fam up, donating 5 Phinside the NFL memberships. Love you, Penn. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. And Dakota says, is McCord, brother, welcome to the channel, Dakota. My man crushes at the position. I've been pushing Jackson Dart since August. Obviously, we're not taking a quarterback at 13. I thought he'd be going the second round back in August. He's now potentially going to the top 10. But who's my other man crush? It's Kyle McCord from Syracuse. But I've heard rumblings of McCord not getting past the 3rd. If McCord's on the board at 116, sign me the hell up. Let's go. So, yeah, it is a good idea. I say all that to say that, yes, you have a good idea. Give me Kyle McCord. I'll tell you why. He's basically, I think you get a lot of the same. Now, I will say Shadour's a little bit better at them, but from like a timing, anticipation, from, those people who call Tua a spot thrower, wait till you get a load of Shadur Sanders. He's a spot thrower. From a timing, anticipation, rhythm standpoint, and accuracy standpoint, very similar to Shadur Sanders. Now, I'd say Shadur's a little bit better at those things. They're not superpowers for either one of them like they are with Tua. But because the highlights of their skill sets are those things, I think a guy like Kyle McCord could operate this offense. I think he could operate it from a structure standpoint. I would have more faith in Kyle McCord operating it from a structure standpoint than Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson hasn't been able to play in structure since BYU. That's been his whole thing. Right? It's the same reason, why did Sean Payton probably move off from him and keep Jared Stidham? Same reason why he moved off Russell Wilson. Sean Payton doesn't like guys who work out of structure. He wants guys in structure. My offense operated like this. Zach Wilson doesn't operate well like that, at least from what we've seen. Now, he hasn't played a game in a year and a half. Maybe it's changed, but from what we've seen on film, he doesn't. Been watching since 2023 draft. Love your channel. Gonna sign up for your Patreon. Appreciate you, Dakota. I've got some interesting stuff up there on the Patreon. Some draft stuff. Go check a linebacker prospect that I've heard they're interested in, etc., etc. So yeah, I got some interesting stuff. I do think Michael, there's a chance one of them is gonna be there, a chance, but it's not good. Membou's going at 4. I don't think Campbell gets past the 49ers. I think you would have to leap the 49ers. And I would call Chicago at 10. Listen, if Ashton Jeanty's off the board, I would call them and say, hey, come back. You could, if Dallas doesn't take Amari and Hampton, you can still get a running back. I'm telling you right now, I would try and, if Campbell's there at 9 or 10, I would try to leap up for him. If Campbell goes and Will Johnson's on the board, I'm not taking Josh Simmons with his injury, Josh Connerly, Kelvin Banks over Will Johnson. That's where I draw the line. Membou and Campbell, okay. Let's go. Top 10 players in this draft. Let's go. I'm not doing it for the other guys with those injuries. I'm just not. Well, I'll say Will Campbell, top 10 player in the draft. Well, I have both them top 10 players in this draft. And again, what's the idea? Okay, we will let Patrick Paul have 2025 at left tackle. Put either one of those guys at left guard. So, and I see, why did we draft him if he wouldn't be ready for year 2? I think they legitimately thought we would get Armstead back. You knew how, hey, listen, if you watch my channel and I did my prospect profile on him and I talked about him after we drafted, we all knew how raw this guy was. We all knew. But the other thing that hurt him was I keep going back and telling you guys, look at an athletic profile standpoint. He's nothing like Armstead. Clunky feet, right? Not quick feet. You don't want him on an island. Lateral movement isn't that great, and agility isn't that great. You don't want him really moving in open space. This is why I've talked about, I feel like there's a conflict about what the philosophy is when it comes to what we should draft at tackle in there. Because you look at since McDaniels got here, Aaron Brewer, Connor Williams, James Daniels, they can move, right? They fit what we want to do. You look at Patrick Paul, didn't make sense. Robert Jones didn't make sense. Now, I know Robert Jones was a little bit of a carryover. So, yeah. We'll see. We will see. Tough loss, man. Tough loss. I really hope Will Campbell falls to us. Or Amon Membou, please. Give us something, football gods. Or I hope they, gain the set of cojones and move up. If they're on the board at 9 or 10 and they want to get ahead of his Shanahan buddy. You are in a position where you can't wait around for Patrick Paul. Point blank, period. Because if you think you're in a position to wait around for Patrick Paul, you might as well blow it up right now. Because the way this roster has been constructed, the capital that's been invested from a draft and financial standpoint, whether trades, picks, whatever, new extensions, whatever. No, we need results. And if you think this isn't a results-based year, what are we doing right now? Guys, smash that like button. If you haven't had a chance, there's over 350 of you in the chat. Please go back and watch the big board from today. I dropped my cornerback big board. We talked about a top safety prospect who came on a top 30 visit. I'll be doing my safety board this week. I might be swapping out tight end for offensive tackle. And then I'll be doing my quarterback big board. And then all the other big boards that don't make video format will be available to patrons and channel members. Guys, smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I appreciate each and every one of you. I will see y'all in the next one. Until then, you already know what time it is. 10 a.m. Jordan Reed, draft analyst for ESPN. We will be talking with him on Monday. So make sure you tune in Monday, 10 a.m. ESPN draft analyst Jordan Reed and myself will be discussing the Dolphins in the draft. Fins up all day, every day. We'll see y'all in the next one.